So, a huge new cache of Jeffrey Epstein's private emails has just been released, and it's forcing everyone to take a fresh look at his past relationship with Donald Trump. And look, these aren't just old stories being rehashed. We're talking about direct claims from Epstein himself, and they have absolutely ignited a political firestorm in Washington.
Okay, let's just get right to it. This is the line, the single most explosive sentence from all of these documents. It's a direct claim written in an email by Epstein himself, alleging that Donald Trump was not only aware of his activities with young women, but that he even tried to get his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, to stop. This one sentence, it's the reason we're even talking about this today. So why now? You might be wondering why this is all hitting the headlines again. Well, it's the sheer volume of information that just became public. We're talking about more than 20,000 pages of emails and private letters from Epstein's estate, all turned over to a House committee. This isn't some small leak, it's a floodgate opening up. All right, so let's dig in. What exactly do these emails say? Let's break down the key claims that have totally set off this political firestorm. When you really boil it all down, Epstein's emails make a few key allegations. First, that direct claim we just talked about, that Trump knew. Second, there's a more specific detail, an allegation that Trump spent hours with one of Epstein's victims at his house. Third, he uses this really strange cryptic phrase, calling Trump the dog that hasn't barked, which is a classic reference suggesting that Trump's silence on the matter is actually the most important clue. And then, kind of weirdly, despite all these implications, Epstein privately seemed to have a really low opinion of Trump, calling him a maniac. And here it is, the actual dog that hasn't barked quote from an email he sent to Ghislaine Maxwell back in 2011. Right after mentioning Trump was with a victim, he writes this, and Maxwell's reply, "It was just, I have been thinking about that." That brief little exchange, it just implies this deep shared understanding between the two of them about what Trump's silence meant. Now, to really understand the weight of these emails, we've got to rewind and look at the decades of history between these two men. Because this wasn't just a passing acquaintance. We're talking about a long, complicated friendship that in the end completely imploded. These are Donald Trump's own words from a 2002 interview. And wow, they really paint a candid picture of their friendship at the time. He calls Epstein a terrific guy, and then makes this very direct and now pretty chilling reference to his preference for younger women. For years, this quote was kind of the defining public statement about their relationship. So this timeline really shows you the entire arc. It all starts back in the late 80s. By the early 90s, they're throwing parties together. Trump's flying on Epstein's private jet. But then in 2004, a business deal goes sour, and it creates a rift. The final break seems to be in 2007, when Trump reportedly bans Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for harassing a member's daughter. And then fast forward to 2019, and Trump is publicly denying that he knew him well at all. Okay, so you take that really complicated history as the backdrop, you drop these explosive new emails right on top of it, and, well, you get exactly what you'd expect. A massive political firestorm, with both parties immediately running to their corners. From the Democratic side, the accusation is crystal clear. This is a cover-up. They're arguing these emails raise glaring questions, and they're using them to demand that the Department of Justice release every single Epstein file it has. Their whole narrative is that this is just the tip of a very, very big iceberg. And here's the counterpunch. Republicans and the White House are framing this as nothing more than a calculated political hit job. They claim Democrats cherry-picked these specific emails just to create a false story, and they're calling the whole thing a hoax that's designed to distract from other issues. So what we're seeing are two completely separate realities being built around the exact same documents. On one side, you have Democrats alleging a cover-up and demanding total transparency. On the other side, Republicans are claiming it's a hoax and a fake narrative, and they've even responded by releasing their own massive trove of documents to try and dilute the story. But here's where it gets really interesting. This is not just a simple partisan fight. The push for more transparency has actually created something you almost never see, a visible crack within Trump's own base. When the administration first refused to release these documents over the summer, some of his most dedicated supporters felt totally betrayed, which led to this backlash that even saw some people burning their MAGA hats in protest. And just to add another layer of political intrigue to all this, there are now new whistleblower allegations about Ghislaine Maxwell. Democrats say they've gotten information that Maxwell is getting ready to ask the Trump administration to commute or shorten her prison sentence. The whistleblower also claims she's getting all this unprecedented special treatment in prison. We're talking custom meals and even help from the warden to prepare her paperwork.
So all of this, the emails, the political infighting, the new whistleblower claims, it's all fueling this growing and frankly, surprisingly bipartisan demand for full transparency on everything the government knows about Jeffrey Epstein. And this has led to a rare alliance in Congress. You've got a progressive Democrat, Ro Khanna, teaming up with a libertarian-leaning Republican, Thomas Massie. Their shared goal is to force a vote in the House to mandate the public release of every single remaining Epstein file. It just goes to show you that the demand for answers now crosses party lines. So, how much is still out there? Well, the House committee says it has received over 23,000 documents from Epstein's estate. And while these competing document dumps from both parties have made around 20,000 pages public, that still leaves thousands of files that are being reviewed behind closed doors. And that really brings us to the final question that everyone in Washington is asking. We've seen the first wave of bombshells from these emails, but with thousands of documents still under review, this story is almost certainly not over. The question isn't just what these documents say about the past, but what they might reveal next.